Hello, and welcome to this week's learning module on adaptive leadership. After this week, you will be able to understand the principles of adaptive leadership, recognize the behaviors associated with adaptive leadership, and become familiar with the strengths and weaknesses of the adaptive leadership model. To get started, we first need to define what adaptive leadership is. Adaptive leadership is the practice of mobilizing people to tackle tough challenges and thrive. But what does that mean? Well, adaptive leadership is a process based on the principle of shared responsibility for the future success of the business or service. This means sharing risks, resources, ideas, and decision-making. The future success of an organization becomes everyone's business. If we were to put that all together, we could come up with a definition or an idea that symbolizes adaptive leadership as leaders mobilizing, motivating, organizing, orienting, and focusing the attention of others to address and resolve changes that are central in their lives. As a model, we can break adaptive leadership into inputs, applied behaviors, and outputs. When we look at the inputs, we can look at the challenges known as situational challenges, and they are technical challenges, technical and adaptive challenges, and just adaptive challenges. Inputs are behaviors, and then the output, where leaders and followers have some interaction. When we identify those challenges, those inputs are known as situational challenges. Technical challenges are problems that are clearly understood and where a solution is readily identifiable. Technical and adaptive challenges. These are problems which are well understood, but where the solution is not necessarily straightforward. Adaptive problems. Adaptive challenges are problems in which it's not well understood, nor is there a straightforward path or solution.
What is different about an adaptive challenge? The key difference is that it requires something new, a new behavior, knowledge, action, or way of thinking that is not in the group's current expertise. In adaptive change, people don't know how to solve the problem, and in fact, people are often the problem, and therefore they're also the solution. Bringing diverse voices to the table and working through the problem as a collective process increases both the ability to recognize the adaptive challenge and the adaptive competence of the team. Adaptive challenges can be painful because they get at values and one sense of competence and creates disequilibrium. For these reasons, adaptive work is much more difficult than technical work. In fact, adaptive change is often so difficult that both leaders and group members are tempted to reach for the technical solutions rather than doing the more uncomfortable adaptive work. But what happens when you apply a technical solution to an adaptive challenge? Unfortunately, you fail to reach a long-term solution.
So what are the prescriptions, or how do leaders behave in an adaptive leadership model? 1. They get on the balcony, which means they separate themselves from the situation so that they can find perspective. They identify adaptive challenges. They're easily able, or readily able, to identify the difference between an adaptive or technical challenge. They know how to regulate distress. They're able to create a safe atmosphere where they can help manage others' distress and uncertainty. They're able to maintain disciplined attention, and that means they're able to encourage and serve as role models for focus and attention. They give work to the people. They enable others to do the work that they are capable of doing. And finally, leadership protects the voices from below. This means being open-minded and listening to all perspectives in an organization regardless of their position within the organization. Adaptive leadership strengths. Adaptive leadership is a process-oriented approach to leadership where leaders and followers mutually affect each other, making leadership an interactive activity. In this approach, it is a follower-centric approach where leaders motivate followers to act on and engage in work. Adaptive leadership is also prescriptive in that it provides several techniques which can be utilized and applied by leaders to help them lead. Adaptive leadership engages the leader to work with the followers for a outcome where they both have impact on. This is a significant difference to this leadership model, and it's something really important. Weaknesses to the model. There's little empirical research, which means there's not much that has been done that validates these approaches. Adaptive leadership as a process also needs further refinement and clarification. And finally, some of the behaviors and prescriptions that are viewed within the model are seen as too vague or too broad. For additional information, please see my references. Discussion questions. Have you worked with an adaptive leader? If so, what did you think of their leadership style? If not, do you think you would fit in with working with an adaptive leader? Why is regulating distress so difficult for most people? How would you evaluate yourself in being able to identify adaptive challenges from technical ones? Why? Thank you very much.